Oh. Oh.
Yang, can you work with Zachary to get him up to speed? He's so far behind, it would take me a whole half class to catch him up.
Yep.
Yes, question. Yes. Oh,
My code has a thing that says move X is not defined.
Okay, where do you have move X?
Yeah, I'm looking for. Oh.
There you go. Yeah, get rid of those. There you go. B1 is not defined. So, you called these S1, S2, S3 is going to be B1, B2, B3.
Okay. What?
Yeah, so you only have one of them in there. That's weird. Oh, no, that's actually perfectly normal. So the last thing we need to add is if we go into our draw, we need to make a for loop. So I made a for loop after I display my head that says for sprite b in body b dot display. So that's going to draw every body segment inside my list. So I have 3 of them in there at the beginning, so it's going to draw 1, 2, 3. 3 body segments. So the for loop is important. Serena, your variable names are very confusing. I hope you are happy with and I hope you don't get confused later because I know I will.
On my key, right there.
I'm sorry, what?
There's a moving sesame seed on my.
A moving sesame seed?
Yeah.
Okay.
See this?
So at the moment, the body doesn't follow us, but that's fine. We just want the body segments to appear. Because we're going to cheat the system a little bit. Our body segments are never going to move. They're going to appear and then they're going to disappear. They're never actually going to change position.
Right, yeah.
Okay, Serena, looks good. So right now, what should happen is, I'm going to take this chunk of code out. So what should happen for all you guys is when you run it, your head should just run away from your body, and that's perfectly normal. That's what we want to have happen. That means everything is working properly so far.
Head's not moving anymore.
Your head's not moving anymore. Who said that? Was that Braden?
Braden.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh, you need to do your head.move still. Actually, no, this should key pressed. You have your head.display. Okay. Oh, you're missing your frame count loop. What happened to your frame count loop?
What frame here?
The thing that says if direction equals 1, move up, down, left, and right.
I don't have it. Yeah, I don't.
How did your head move to begin with? Oh, it always just moved in one direction? I see. Okay, hold on. Let me bring everything back. Okay, so Braden rather. Actually, first of all, is somebody sitting right behind a fan? Mofon, can you point the fan in a different direction? I'm getting a lot of wind pick up.
That's cool.
My head is flashing.
Alright.
Okay, perfect. Braden, you need to add this block of code here that says that for if inside the frame count, you need to add these 4 conditionals. If direction is equal to 1, head move y minus 25. If direction is equal to 4, head move x minus 25. If direction equals 2, head move y plus 25. And if direction equals 3, head move x plus 25. Because you need those to be able to move, for the snake to be able to move in different directions. Okay.
Stop breathing.
All right, Mofon, you're making a lot of noise. I'm gonna mute you for a little while.
You did.
Just so you guys know, if I mute you, it's not that you're in trouble or it's a punishment. It's just that some people breathe loudly and some people don't. And when you breathe loudly, it can hurt other people's ears. So it's not a punishment. It's just you're making a lot of noise.
Was that you, Colin? Who made that noise? I don't think it was Mofon, but
That was Colin.
I need help.
Is that Colin?
Yes.
All right, Colin, what's going on?
It says X cannot be defined. I can't find the X.
Interesting.
I think my keys are messed up.
So just change it around until it moves in the correct direction, Colin. If you followed Mighty Meat directly, it might be a little bit messed up. So just move the blocks around until it makes sense.
What do you mean?
So like, if direction, so my 1 is equal to down, my 4 is equal to left, my 2 is equal to up, and my 3 is equal to right, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So you need to just adjust that so that it matches up with your program correctly.
Guessing time.
Right.
This one or this one?
Body.add, move to point, new sprite.
What is wrong with my code?
Colin. I'm gonna get rid of this. Error cannot read property X of undefined. Property X of undefined. This needs to be sprite. Frame count. Head equal M3. M equals. What is this? What is M? If M. Oh, I see.
That's true, like for DR. I just.
You did dir. Okay, yeah. Yep. You're fine. You made your integer M equal to 1. Okay. Where are you getting this X from? Okay, so it's somewhere in here. Sprite 1. Called your body sprite. Okay. B1, B2, B3.
Two body.
265. So B1, 265. This should be 290. B15. Body.add.
Okay, I'm kinda good. I shouldn't have chosen the monkey body.
Should be 4.
It's like this, like what is that? Like a flash head with a monkey body.
You didn't use B1 anywhere else, did you? No. I mean, you called your sprite that, but that's fine. These go away.
Two sprite
Up here, URL head, URL body, M. Ah, here we go. Colin, you named your sprite body and you named your list body. You need to change one of these from body to something else. There's your problem. Yeah. Remember, you can't name 2 different things the same name. That's going to cause problems.
Too wise.
Okay. So, everybody more or less caught up?
Kinda not, because I only have 1 body, not 3.
All right, Braden, let's have a look at yours. Where are you, Braden? There you are. So let's see. You add body B1, B2, B3, add B1, B2, B3, for loop B in body B.display. You should have 3.
What's object?
Why is one of them? Why is one of them?
It has to be 2 different.
body dot get x sprite b1
Object.
dir sprite b1 equals bod b1 move to head dot get x head dot get y body dot add b1 add b1 b2 b3 and for sprite b in body b dot display sprite b is a new list head dot display frame count b1 b2 b3 b1 you have turn to point instead of go to point. Brayden, these all need to be go to point, not turn to point. Move to point. Okay. So the next step, which I think is some of you already.
I need help again. This is what's object.
Unable to iterate object. Interesting. All right, let's have another look. So b1, b2, b3, bod the add, head body dot display. B dot display.
Huh.
No, it's sprite b in body, b dot display, and then frame count 30. Hold on, let me look over here. Head dot turn to direction. Also, you have turn to point. You need to turn these into move to position, move to point.
There's still something wrong with my code, Brayden.
Brayden, all right, let's have a look, Brayden. All right. All right, so let's have a look. Let's run. And so head.display for sprite read display sprite b1 equals new sprite bod b1 move to point head.getx head.getY bod.add b1 sprite. Turn head.move y move to point add oh no, that's fine. I
still have the same problem.
It still says object.
Yeah.
Hold on. You called your list bod, so yeah, bod.add and copies of body.
Yeah, this should be false. Oh, okay.
All right, hold on. Let me finish up with Brayden, and then I'll come help you out. So, bod is the URL. Background head.display for sprite b in body. Your body has lowercase. B.display, yes. Move the directions.
Okay. Here.
If I slot this in.
Import body.
When I run mine. Okay.
B1 is not defined now.
B1 equals bod. B1 that move the point.
The new sprite. I need new sprite here.
Yes. There you go. Perfect.
Hey.
Thank you. All right, Colin, let's have a look at yours.
Now B1 is not defined.
B1 is not defined.
Did you
So
put S1 in sprite?
referencing B1.
S1 equals to new sprite.
B1, B2, B3, B1, B2, B3. Bod equals B1, B2, B3. What are these? Why do you have these three turn to points? We don't have anything with turn to points. Nothing is turning to any points.
I thought I deleted it. Oh, oopsies.
Oh, run it. Second run to place. Okay, cool. All right, so next thing I added to my code was inside my draw, inside my frame count loop, I added every time this conditional is going to be run, I'm going to make a new sprite, and I'm going to call this one B1 as well.
I deleted that one before.
If you deleted it, you can hit Control-Z and you will undelete something.
Alan, what did you search up for the snake head and the snake body? Because my program really doesn't make any sense with a flat head and a monkey body.
I looked up snake head transparent and snake body transparent.
Oh.
Alan?
Yeah.
Could you move your screen a little bit right so Zachary can see the code? Yep. Okay, thank you.
Right now I can't see it.
Yeah, let me see if I can just try squishing
Little bit,
everything
yeah.
together a bit more.
Yep.
Oh, all this is that? How do I get that? Oh, it's right here.
Where do you find it?
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
I don't see it.
Hold on. Let me.
Oh, here.
There you go. That's the one. Yep. Okay, so inside my draw, inside the conditional, I made a new sprite, called it B1, and I made it a copy of the body. So new sprite bod. Then I moved that to the position of my head. So I did B1.move to point, head.getX, head.getY. So that makes a new sprite of the body, and here's my head, and it superimposes it upon it, and then it adds this body segment to my list. And then the head moves and the body part remains. So now I can sort of make a running path that follows my body around. Cool. All right, Mofon's got it.
Okay. Oh, God.
You're missing. So Colin, you're missing a parentheses somewhere.
Oh.
Alan?
Yep.
Could you remove the showing?
Period.
Yep.
Yeah, really need to see the code. Thank you.
Sorry. Yeah. Dot get x, head dot get x, and get y. There you go.
Whoa.
Braden, I'm still not sure why you're missing a gap here. Let me look at your code real quick, Braden. 265, 290, 315, and you start at 240. 80, 90. So this middle one is not being added for some reason, and that's weird. Ah, here we go. B2.
B2. Okay.
Sorry, and then B3. Yep, you take care of it.
I'll do it now, yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
How come my head's facing in the wrong direction?
So you need to change that with your in your key pressed. Have your head turned to a different direction. Change those around a little bit.
Okay, no, but then it's the complete other way. Oh, I know.
1, 3.
3, 270.
Okay, so is everybody more or less caught up?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our last step for this portion is to make it so that our tail disappears as well. So last program we used, when we wanted to make our drawing thing disappear, we used a function called list.get, and then we put parentheses, and inside the parentheses we put down a 0, because that's our first index, and we want to go there. That's why this adding order was so important. We always want to be removing the oldest tail segment. So I'm going to go to list. Actually, no, I'm going to go to shapes. And actually, no, not even that. Sorry. I'm going to go to variables, and I'm going to grab a sprite. I'm going to say sprite s equals, and then I'm going to grab one of these blue things, and I'm going to say body.get, open parentheses, 0, close parentheses, semicolon.
Body. body.
So this is going to go, it's going to make a new sprite, and it's just going to say, okay, this sprite, there's not actually a sprite here. Instead, this sprite S is now pointing to the tail end of my snake. And then inside list, I'm going to go to list.remove. I'm going to change this to body.remove, and I'm going to remove S from my list. So it's going to look through my list, and if it finds S, which it will because we pulled it from the list, it's going to remove it. When I run this, my snake now works.
Wait a second. My
It
body.
removed it in the wrong order. That's weird. Hold on, I think I need to reverse these orders. I need to do 3, 2, 1.
I need help.
There we go. Prunk.
I need help.
All right, Serena?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's have a look, Serena.
There we go.
All right, so S body.gets. Then we got to open parentheses and oh, your thing isn't following at all. Interesting. All right, so let me have a look at your draw.
Is this supposed to be like this?
So is your body? Are you using a sprite for your body, Serena, or are you using a rectangle?
A rectangle.
Okay, but you have your rectangle called S2.
Yeah.
Right, sprite S2. Okay, so SSS equals. Here we go. This needs to be SSS. And then you add SSS. There you go.
Oh, you lucky.
All right.
Is this supposed to be like this?
Well, let me have a look. Yeah, Colin, yours looks good. Braden, yours looks good.
What'd you say? I'm going fifth. I'm only going to fifth. Same as that.
Braden, I'm going to mute you. Okay. So I made a mistake. Inside your setup, you need to change the order in which we add the body segments. It should be B3, B2, B1, not B1, 2, 3. Because right now it's pulling from the wrong order. So you want to add the bottom one first, then the second one, then the top one. So the bottom one is the oldest, and it gets removed first, and it's going to pull off in the order, and they're going to be added in the order.
It doesn't really make enough effects for mine.
Who said that?
Colin.
Colin.
Still,
Colin,
still
yours
the
seems to
same.
work. Yours seems to work. Let me try running it again. Yeah, okay, yours is working perfectly.
Oh.
Yeah, yours is doing exactly as it's supposed to. Serena, how are you doing? Okay.
You just got deleted? No, I didn't do it yet. Oh.
So if we think about what's actually happening in the code here, we're not moving any body segments. The body segments never move. They are created at a location, and then they hang out there for a predetermined amount of time, and then when they are old enough, they are removed, because that's when they're at the end of the list. So we're going to keep adding to the head of our list, or the head of our snake, and removing from the tail of our list, or the tail of our snake. And so this is going to allow us to make the illusion of motion without actually having to worry about constantly changing the location of all of our blocks. That's going to get real annoying real quick. So we have essentially saved ourselves a whole lot of headache by doing it this way.
Yo, Alan.
Yeah.
Could you scroll up a little bit?
Sure.
So Zachary can see the global variable. Yep. Okay, thank you.
No, it doesn't work though.
Okay, Serena, yours looks like you're having a little bit of trouble. Have a look. For S display, that S is your head.
What's that for?
Serena, I really wish you had picked better sprite names. You're adding all your S's, good.
Too much S's.
Sprite SSS, SSS.move, more stuff.add, SSS, okay.
S's are for life.
New sprite S2. It was working, what happened? S3.moveMoreStuff.get S. You don't want to remove SSS because that's the one you just added. You want to add S3, the one you just found by using your get stuff. There you go. Molto bene. Mwah, magnifique. Muy delicioso.
Magnificent.
¿Qué este por nuestro dinero?
No comprendo.
Catherine, ¿qué es nuestro dinero?
What?
Do I need to use a translator?
Yes. Yeah, boy.
That's what I said. You don't need to.
Okay.
All right.
All right, guys. So is everybody's snake working correctly?
Yee.
Yee. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and random Chibong behind us. So now let's make it so we have the ability to grow our snake.
Spamming the chat.
All right, Mofon, I'm going to go ahead and remove your ability to chat. Mofon can no longer chat. Okay.
Oh my god, you wrote so much.
So let's go ahead and do a quick test version to make our snake grow in length. So inside of my key press, I'm going to add a new key press. Say if, oh, no, not add comment, remove comment, duplicate. So if I press space, I want to make my snake grow by one size. So I can remove all this. So how do you guys think I would make my snake grow by one in length?
Add new sprite.
Where would I add the new sprite? What do you think? Would I add it to the head or would I add it to the tail?
Tail.
I get what you mean.
Yeah, then
Head.
Yeah.
So
I want to add it to the head. So actually what I can do is I'm just going to copy this, and this. These three blocks, I'm going to throw it into my, when I press space. So now when I run this, if I press space,
What in the? Oh,
What in the?
I just got some random thing. Alan, I need Brayden needs assistance.
Resistance.
so my snake is now getting longer. Every time I press space, I'm going to increase my length by 1. It's not going to be immediately evident because of the way we remove them, but the length is going to increase by 1 every time.
Alan, I
Yep.
need assistance. Brayden.
Brayden, okay, let's have a look, Brayden.
Dwayne needs
Sorry, I got Serena's open. Brayden, there you are. Okay, Brayden, what's going on? Oh, just what was that? There you go.
What did I do?
You hit F12, I want to say, and that opens up dev mode.
Alan,
I
Yes.
have a long snack.
Alan. Ooh.
Oh, yep.
That's a long snacky.
No, that doesn't do that. What are you doing?
We're
Getting a huge snake. That's what we're doing.
Me and
Me and Serena are getting a long snake.
Need a
Need a snake pet.
It's Serena and I, first of all, not me and Serena.
Okay.
I said Serena. The microphone heard Serena. He's using like.
Bless you.
So this is one way we could make our snake longer. There's another way we could make our snake longer. And this way will actually make our snake longer immediately. The problem with the way we have it done working right now is that I have to wait for my snake to get to the end of my head before it adds a new length. So if I hit spacebar, I don't immediately get longer. It takes me as many seconds as I have body segments divided by 2 to get there. So if I've got 6 body segments, it's going to take me 3 seconds to get to my desired length. And that's a problem.
I have such. Oh my God, Serena.
So what we need to do is we need to make it so that when we create a new body segment,
You are too long.
immediately added. Zachary, all right, you've got unexpected token, colon. So somewhere in your code, Zachary, you have a colon instead of a semicolon.
You mean
Let's have a
me?
look.
Educated.
Whoever is Zachary. So it's probably wherever you did your get. If you've done your get yet.
Come on, extend,
Yes, your get. So your get, that needs to be a semicolon, not a colon. That's still a colon, Zachary. The semicolon is the one.
I found a mouse. I'm gonna throw the mouse at you.
All right, give it a shot now,
Ha
Zachary.
ha ha ha. Very funny.
Bod is not defined. So somewhere you're using the word bod, but you haven't defined the word bod. So you used body lowercase, body uppercase. To use those variable names instead of bod.
I'm gonna stop too.
So B1, B2, B3 need to be copies of body with the lowercase b, not with the uppercase b, because we're copying the sprite body. You could rename body here. You could rename this to bod. That'd be fine too.
That snake is a
Boo.
So now you have something called lowercase body is not defined. So somewhere you have something that's a lowercase body.
What's the goal of the game?
Where have you done that?
No, that's too hard. It's gonna take like 20 minutes.
In here, this needs to be a capital B. Whoop. B dot display. This needs to be body with a capital B.
Mofon. Whatever.
what?
There you go.
I'm
You don't have your body segments.
When
Maybe
does
your
your
body
school
segments aren't drawn.
start? When does Mofon's school start?
I think it
Okay.
starts after Labor Day for
All right.
me, but
So let's go ahead and try doing this a different way so that our snake
I
gets in length immediately instead of having to wait for a little bit of time. So I'm going to make a new conditional inside of my frame count loop. I'm going to say if, and I'm going to make a new variable in my global variables. I'm going to make it a Boolean. I'm going to call this Boolean grow, and it's going to start as false. Not flask, but false. There we go. So I made a new Boolean called grow, and I named it false. This Boolean is going to determine if I'm allowed to grow or not. If it's true, I'll be allowed to grow, and if it's false, I won't be allowed to grow. So in my draw, I'm going to do if grow is equal to true, then I'm going to grab these two segments that make a new body segment, or that rather remove my body segment. Sorry, if grow equals false. Do this. So if grow is equal to false, I'm going to put the thing that removes my body segments inside that loop, or inside that conditional rather. So if I am not growing, my tail is going to continue disappearing behind me. As an alternative to that, if I am growing, my tail's not going to be removed, which is what I want. That'll make me grow. So inside my press spacebar, I'm going to get rid of these 3 lines of code, and instead I'm going to do a variable assignment. I'm going to say grow equals true. So now let's go ahead and run this. So my snake is acting normally, but if I press spacebar, my snake is now just going to keep growing forever. So I've managed to make my snake be able to grow. Now I need to tell my snake when to stop growing. So in this game, we're going to be eating apples that are on the ground.
Yay!
And every time we eat an apple, our snake is going to grow by 1 body segment. So after we've grown by 1 body segment, we can turn grow back off. So I'm going to duplicate this assignment, and then at the very end of my if statement, I'm going to turn grow back to false. So now when I run this, every time I hit spacebar, I'll get longer by 1 segment. Immediately. I don't have to wait for my body to catch up with it. I can just keep tapping spacebar, and I'll just keep becoming longer and longer and longer.
But then it became you. Dun dun dun.
But then it was you.
Serena, are you just trying to fill in the whole screen? It's a worthwhile endeavor. Just don't get consumed by the snake bug. It's taken many a strong soul. Okay, so let's make our lose condition for this game. How do you lose in Snake? Who wants to take a guess?
I don't know how Snake works.
It's like Slither.io, but it's your own body.
Yeah. So in Snake, you die, or the snake loses. Why, Brayden, why is your head massive?
Because my snake is smart.
Okay, excellent. So we lose if our snake either hits the border of our wall, or if our snake runs into itself.
I thought in the game, if the snake hit the wall, it just goes into the other side.
Nope, if the snake hits the wall, it's game over. The snake is in a cage, and if the snake hits the cage, the snake dies. It's not a very good snake.
Alan,
Yes.
Mofan need help.
Mofan, what's going on?
Move on.
False. Where is your, if you press spacebar?
Here.
Oh, what? No, this, what? Oh, no, this.
Oh. Oh. What about the...
There you go, Mofan.
Serena filled the screen. GG.
Amazing. Good job, Serena. That would be a traditional win of Snake. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our parameters. I'm going to make a new function for this because I think our draw is getting a bit big, so I want to make a new function. So let's go ahead and go to globals, and we're going to grab out void function, and we're going to grab our function tab. So our function is going to be called crash.
I'm gonna make it all. I'm gonna make it like easier. I'm just calling it hit.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just remember what you named your stuff, and that's all that matters. Okay, so our function's called crash. So we're going to drag out some conditionals. We're going to say if. So how do you think we can? How can we detect if our snake has left the screen?
Is it gonna be like if something equals then the border? Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So why don't you guys, for the next 10 minutes until 5 o'clock, why don't you guys try to puzzle this one out yourself? Make a conditional. I'm gonna call my function crash, and I'm gonna stick it inside my draw at the very end.
Bottom.
I need help.
Who said that? Zachary. Okay, what's going on, Zach? Okay, body segments don't follow the head. Dot display, frame count equals false, spacebar equals true. At the end, we need to do here. Grow also equals false.
More than.
If grow equals false, we don't grow. For our setup, we have our 3 body segments. You named them all B1. These will be named B2 and B3. Then we added B1, B2, B3 to the list. Our thing is called body with a capital B. All right, let's run this. But they're not following you.
What are you calling it? Don't tell me you did SSS1. Okay, good.
Sprite B1 equals new sprite bod, B1.add. Move to point. Head.getX. You called your thing head, right? Okay, good.
Whoa.
Head.getY. There you go.
It's so weird.
Okay, so how's that function going?
Okay.
What in the world?
What was that?
I mean, it's so scary.
What the heck?
Not me.
That was all Brayden making that slurping noise.
I know.
I know,
But
but I can still hear you.
And I can still hear you.
No, like through the mic. I could hear you through the mic.
The mic?
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Well, not through that one. To mine. I could hear you.
What do you mean?
Everything.
Your mind is too mature.
Okay,
Oh yeah. Toy.
sorry about that. My ears were bugging me, and then my laptop fell, or my headphones fell.
Goofy.
I'm gonna play mine. See.
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, get it. Yeah.
What are we supposed to do with the void crash?
This is going to detect if we crash into the side of the building, or the side of the level, rather.
Statements, but I don't know what to do next.
Oh, okay. So what I'd recommend is making another Boolean variable in our globals, and we'll call that variable crashed, and it'll start as false. And then if we do crash, we'll turn that variable true.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Is that Colin?
Yeah. I'm just making weird
What are you doing with your W's?
walls.
You already have walls. Your walls are just the outside of your screen. Don't actually build physical walls. You already have walls. I mean, you can if you want to, but it's highly unnecessary.
That's just wasted.
Yeah, that's all we're doing is we're checking to see if our snake has left the screen. Snakey has left the screen. So yeah, Serena, you too. I appreciate that you're building walls, but we don't really need to do that. That's an extra step that we can, do later if we really feel like it.
We need a boolean, that means.
Yeah, so we're gonna make a new Boolean.
Boolean.
And I'm gonna call this one crashed. Crash starts as false.
No
And my
problem
conditionals
over.
say if head.get x is less than 0,
Unexpected string.
or I'm actually gonna I want to see if this works. in processing, or
Hey, this guy did.
Well,
So
But
I
except for the huge ore.
head.getx is greater than width.
Interesting. I'll try that.
I'm not sure if these big chains will work, but I'm hoping they will. Greater than height. And head.getY. Come on. Is less than 0. Variable. Crashed equals true.
Alan?
Yep. Braden, what's going on?
So instead of doing like what
Yeah, you got muted, bruh.
I unmuted Braden. You can talk. Braden, go. No, Braden, check your. Braden, check this. Is this
Yeah,
muted?
He said something.
Braden, check this. Push this button. Now talk.
Say something.
Braden, talk.
I'm giving up on you.
All right, Braden, you're muted.
wait.
Braden, what's your problem?
Okay, my problem is that my head ends up in the corner of the screen, and I can't really do anything.
That's very strange. I wonder why it's doing that.
I put in integers to detect it, like the head and the body moved out. So X and Y are at the respective places, but my head is somewhat elsewhere.
So your head.
Alan?
Yep.
Can you move your screen to the right a little?
Sure.
Okay, dang. This.
I think what maybe needs to have happen here is we need to move those there first. There you go. So you were referencing X and Y before you defined X and Y. So processing, it's an odd thing that processing does, but it has variables X and Y as defaults, and they default to 0 and 0. So when you did that, it just set your head up to the corner over here.
What happens when you crash now?
Right now, nothing. All it does is it says, oh, a variable gets changed. So I'm going to add a new conditional. And I'm going to say if crashed is equal to false. And I'm going to drag everything that I've done, and I'm going to slot it inside that. And I'm going to put that back inside draw. Now when I run this, and then everything goes away. All right, we're going to pick up from here in 10 minutes. I'll meet you guys back here at 5:10. Go ahead and take a break. You guys have earned it. You've done really well today. I'm very happy with today's progress.
Thank you.
I give you guys a lot of
No, why would there?
so
There is no food, Zach.
Hello, Brayden.
Hello?
Hello?
hello.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Caught me in the middle of a really good chew. No.
Shoe?
Yeah, I'm having brownies. And they're very sticky.
Brownies?
Well, I had a quick
Zachary,
dinner. And I
stop spamming!
had a brownie for dessert.
It's not Zachary, it's Mopan.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Zachary
Spam so much times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
Zachary,
Zachary,
why did you spam like over 50
times?
And it's all
TYs.
Alan.
All right.
So what you're
So
saying
what
is
you're saying is
you?
thank you?
Well, I appreciate the politeness, Zachary. I'm going to ban you from chat. There you go. No more chat for Zach. Okay.
Alan,
So let's go ahead and reconvene. So I've got my function that checks to see if I've crashed, called crash. If I do crash, I change crash to true. And down here, I'm always going to be running it at the very end of my code. So crash is going to happen the last thing. And then outside my code, I have a conditional that says if crashed is equal to false, run my whole code. So that if crashed is equal to true, my code stops running. So on the outside of it, I can go ahead and make a new background. Let's make this black. Black. And then I'll do shapes, and I'll say text. It says,
You lose.
You lose.
you lose.
Alan, my
Good
code
day,
doesn't work.
sir.
Good job.
Good job.
Right in the middle, I'll do fill with red, and I will do text size of 30. Sure. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, what? Oh, I know why, because I need to do an else. There we go. And then this all hangs out inside the else. All right, so I'm going to be running, and then crash. You lose. Good day, sir.
You should write G-Day, sir.
So I'll go ahead and bring this down over here so you guys can catch up to where I am. I've got my conditional, and I've got my else, and then I've got my function which checks and will then let me know if things are crashing.
Alan, what code
Yep.
doesn't work?
Brayden, make sure your microphone's turned on.
It is.
I can barely hear you. Talk again?
Hello.
No, try, check this, make sure it's not flashing. All right, now talk.
Hello.
There we go. Yeah, guys, so on your headsets, there's a little button with a light on it. If the light is flashing, that means you're muted. If it's solid, that means you're good. So check, make sure it's not muted. Okay, go ahead, Brayden.
My code doesn't work, and when I run it,
My computer froze.
My computer froze.
yeah, it doesn't do anything.
I think my computer
Okay.
froze.
Crash equals true,
I think
greater
it's
than,
frozen.
less than 0,
think
greater
my
than
computer
480,
Oh,
less than 0, crashed
it's
equals
frozen.
true.
Mine is frozen.
frozen?
Ah, you don't have your, if crash is equal to false,
False.
run all of this. Your variable crashed.
Come on,
Crash.
flash out.
Yeah, I forgot to first. See?
First try to
Well, it's because you have
export
X's.
to save your code.
Oh, no, but X is how you're controlling your direction, isn't it? You have your,
Yeah.
you have your X and your Y? You do.
Why?
What?
Interesting. Greater than or less than. If X is greater than 640. Void crash, crash. If crashed equals false.
I need help.
Oh, Mom, I'm helping Brayden right now.
Wait, no, never mind. I found the problem.
Good. I would always prefer you guys to
Crash into the
find the
wall.
problems on your own.
What? Wait.
I think my thing froze again.
I think my
Help, it's frozen.
help is
Nowhere do we have an infinite loop, so we shouldn't ever have the ability for you guys to crash.
Dude, that sounded so
Dude, that sounded so weird.
Crash, crash. Okay, so it doesn't like your using X and Y. So just
Mine
Mine doesn't work.
duplicate that, and then for the Y's, use head.getY instead of just using Y.
Okay, thank you.
All right, who else is not working?
Colin.
Colin. I should have known. You'd be calling on me. Hey! Okay, what's up, Colin?
Yeah, it doesn't like show the thing.
Okay, so head.getX is greater than 0. Head.getX is always greater than 0. Less than 0. Greater than width. Greater than height, less than 0. You need to fix all these. Less than 0. Greater than width, greater than height, less than 0. It's going to change crash to true. If crashed is equal to false, run the whole thing. I don't know, we have this display hanging out here. Hit, else, run. Okay, so let's have a look. Go, 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 go. Well, that was anticlimactic. Let's see. So you're running hit. Good. Void hit. Or, got all ors, that's good. You can't define Boolean crash here. You have to define Boolean crash up in your globals, which you already did. So instead, I'm just gonna grab this. We're gonna call this crash. Oh no, crashed.
Mine's
crash.
Oh, that's right, because you called your function hit. Okay.
Help me.
Who is that?
Mofon.
Mofon.
It's a muffin.
I gotta make this small.
All right, Mofon, let's have a look.
You know the
Why do you have... Mofon, what have you've done something different than the rest of us, which I encourage, but at the same time, it makes it much more difficult for me to debug. So only, experiment if you're confident. Let's have a look what's going on here. Mofon, stop moving. So Mofon, stop. Okay, so we got if crash equals false, everything runs. Otherwise, do that. You check crash. So crash if head.getX is less than 0 or greater than 640 or less than 0 or greater than 480, change crash to true. Or snake is dead. Head.getY is less than 0 or greater than 480. Crash becomes true. If crash is equal to false.
Okay.
Stop tormenting Mofon. Okay, there you go, Mofon. Fixed. All right, everybody else working okay?
Yep.
I'm gonna
I'm gonna set the apples up.
Zachary, you're behind. You need to be following along. This is how you got behind last time.
You're right.
Please stop goofing off and please try to follow along.
Are we going to add in the apples?
We are going to add in the apples. That's our next, well, almost our next step. Next, we need to check and see if we are crashing into ourselves. I'm going to add in my crash, I'm going to add a new conditional. Actually, I'm going to make a new for loop first. I'm going to say for sprite B in D? Is that how I spelled it? Yeah, with body. Okay, good. So sprite B in body, conditional, if, and then detection. If head is touching sprite B, I will also set crash to true.
I have my
Apple website on.
I need to move my crash to sprite.display to the very first thing I do, I believe. No. We're having a slight issue with where crash should go. So, how does this actually work? Let me think for a second. So we are adding a new sprite. First thing we do is we make a new sprite at our location head, and then we move.
I need help.
Hold on, I need to puzzle through this real quick. What do you need help with?
What?
Serena, height. You need to spell height correctly.
E.
Oh.
That'll do it every time.
Yeah, I'll type it.
Okay, so we need to
Okay.
And you have to write something.
do it right after our head is moved.
Okay.
I'm sad.
Oh, someone just said that they were sad.
Awkward silence.
Interesting. I guess that wouldn't make any difference. I'm not sure why it's crashing. It shouldn't crash.
Crashing
Into
dinner.
dinner.
Equals true.
It says
It runs 60 times per second.
Let me try. I'm going to throw the thing back here. I'm going to move this out, and I'm going to throw this into my sprites. Okay,
Oh my god, you had
I have solved the problem.
Oh my
god.
Seriously? Am I the only
Am I the
one
only
in the
one in the
classroom with Mofon? Everybody left
except for me and Mofon.
Serena
also went to the bathroom too. Derp.
No, it's not detecting the hit at all.
Aww.
If B is touching sprite
Wants to touch himself.
head, all right, let's try it this way.
Mine will work actually because my thing is different. Doesn't it have like a different outline?
So we're gonna have to do something a little bit differently. If
Why not you
make your head a little bigger?
conditional, if distance from
Is it touching its tail?
head,
I did it. Mofon did it.
does Mofon always talk about Mofon in the third person?
What?
Mofon, I think I know the answer. and win.
Yeah, is it touching the head?
head?
And then you
lose.
Dot get X.
Oh, can you look at my screen?
Hold on, Mofon. I am trying to solve it myself.
Okay, let me see.
All right, Mofon, show me. I'm looking at your screen.
Run it.
Yep, that's what I'm doing right now as well.
Oh my god. Could you make it longer? That's cheap.
He's under the table.
We'll find your cheap.
What are you doing?
Okay, cool.
On the chair.
Now we're adding the apple.
We'll find.
Mofon, please stop breathing into the microphone. Keep your microphone far away. You don't have to have it like right here. It doesn't have to be in your mouth.
That's disgusting!
It should
Keep it far away from your mouth. Look at all this space like that.
Disgusting.
Lots of room. We can hear you just fine, but we don't want to hear you breathing.
We'll find. Just make your snake
bigger.
Okay.
What?
Can we see your code? Your new code?
No, he's still
solving it.
No, I solved it.
Oh, okay.
Inside my crash, I did a for sprite B in body. If the distance from my head.getX and my head.getY, so my head's location, to each body part is less than 0, or equal to 0, then that means I've crashed. So I'm going to be checking for one thing on top of another thing. We seem to be still having some trouble with hit detection using the touching algorithm if one thing is inside of another, so this is a workaround. Zachary, your thing is much too big for your steps. Pretty much whatever dimension you give to your head and your body, you need to also make your movement change by that amount. Otherwise, you're going to run into trouble. Okay. So we've done all of the basic rules for crashing. I'll let you guys catch up in a little bit.
I'm not
But we have all of our basic rules for crashing. And we have our growth. Our growth works. We grow by 1 every time. We hit spacebar. We're going to change that around next. But at the moment, if we crash into ourselves, the game is over. And if we crash into the walls, the game is over. So we are on the right track.
Object again.
Oh, that's
why.
It's
Apple.
dog. Everyone
looks.
What?
The snake can make a U-turn in 1 step.
I need help.
Oh, no, if the snake makes a U-turn in 1 step, it'll go back into itself and it'll die. We can't make
Yeah,
U-turns.
so we shouldn't.
Yeah, you're right, we
Oh,
shouldn't.
never mind.
So let's do it.
No, I mean, do what? Make it so that the snake can't change directions in 1 turn?
Alan, can you move your screen to the right?
Yeah, it turn fully
To the right.
in 1 turn.
I have too much code to be able to have all of it on the screen at the one time. So say draw, key pressed, crash,
Key pressed.
set up for globals to see what you want to
Key
do.
pressed.
Alan.
Key pressed.
Yes.
Alan, can you move
Yeah.
your screen a little to the right and then go down?
Which function do you want to be visible, Colin?
The void hit. The crash. What does the equal
to?
0.
Oh. Yay,
Mine works.
Okay. let's add a new object to our game. I'm going to go back up to my global variables.
If not, move equals to 4. It's equal.
I'm going to make a new global variable, and this is just going to be, I just want this one to be a simple rectangle. We're not going to go looking for a new sprite. So I'm just going to say sprite. That's fine. Sprite apple equals, yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
New sprite, 320, 240, 50, 50. I'm going to make these values here, these are going to be random. It's actually going to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to be random from 0 to, so we have 25. How wide is our screen? Our screen is 640 across. Yeah, 640 across. Let me do some quick math.
Using calculator.
Yep, 25 over 6, so 0 to 25, actually 0 to 26.
What are you doing?
Duplicate this, I'm going to slot it into here. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to leave these here. But I'm just going to duplicate this and throw it in here, and then duplicate this, throw it in here. Its initial position doesn't matter. We're going to change its initial position inside setup. So inside my setup, I want to move my apple to a random location. So I'm going to go to sprites, position. I'm going to say apple, move to point, and I'm going to say open parentheses int random 0, 26, and 480 divided by 25, 19. And open parentheses int random 0, 19. So this is going to give me a random number between 0 and 25 and 0 and 18. And then I'm going to multiply this number by 25. So this way, our apple will always be on our grid. I'm also going to go to appearance. Zachary, I'm going to turn off your webcam. I also want to change my apple's color to red. So I have a nice red apple. There we go.
Wait.
So if I run this, oh, S is not
set
color.
Yep. Sorry. Apple. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and run this. Oh, actually, I need to display my apple as well. Let's just duplicate head.display, and I'll say apple.display.
Can you go to the
void setup again?
That's way too big. It needs to be 25, 25. Okay. There you go. So the move to point, it's int, in parentheses, int, and then random, 0 to 26, again in parentheses, times 25. So I want that apple to always be on my grid.
You did. You're the one next
to him.
That was you. Oh my
A
god.
little bit smaller, maybe 20. 20 by 20. There you go, that looks a bit
Can I
more
see the
better.
code? Can I see the
Yep.
Yes, say your stuff. What do you need?
What do you need?
Nothing.
What was that cat noise?
Brayden.
What? Me? You dare accuse me? I guess I sound like a cat.
This beat.
Are you serious? You just called me a cat.
hurt his feelings. You gotta say sorry.
Raiden, are you actually upset?
Yeah.
As far as the insults I've heard you guys throw at each other, calling someone saying someone sounds like a cat seems like the least egregious. That's
So
not an excuse, Raiden. Raiden,
Okay.
Raiden. There's a saying called "You can dish it out, but you can't take it." If you're going to pick on Mofon, you can't get upset when he comes back and bites. When he bites back.
Can you go back to the void drop?
I don't encourage picking on in any sense of the word.
Okay, text
But that's more of your school's thing to handle. But what I will say is that fair is fair.
Can somebody help me?
My apple is in the corner.
Int random.
My apple in the corner.
My apple always ends up at the corner.
That's bizarre.
0.
Let me have a look.
Same for me.
Int random. Did you do 0.26? That's a comma, not a point. 0,
same
comma,
for mine.
26. 0, comma, 19.
Oh,
Commas. They're commas, not points. Commas. Comma, 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 chameleon.
Macmillion. Macmillion.
The way the word chameleon is spelled, you'd expect it to be pronounced in a much more interesting way. I think chameleon. Chameleon.
Can I see the void crash?
Yes. Here's void crashed. Crash. Yep. Your apple does not appear. Did you tell it to draw the apple?
Did you display it?
Yeah, you got to do display. Right underneath where you did head.display, do apple.display.
Good.
Yeah, because
You haven't programmed that yet, Raiden. So we don't want the apple to spawn right on the wall. That seems to be causing a little bit of problems. So I'm actually going to change this 0 to a 1. I want it to be between 1 and 26 and 1 and 19. That'll stop the apple from spawning in the wall. We'll give it a little bit of a buffer zone. Okay. Does anybody not have their apple appearing on screen yet?
No, 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 no.
No, you don't have your apple appearing on screen, or no, you do have your apple appearing on screen?
Do.
Okay, so Mofon, if I ask if anybody has something, don't respond saying you have the opposite, because that doesn't help me. I want people who are having a problem to say something, okay, Mofon?
Okay.
I'm not asking for an update on you, I'm asking for everyone to tell me what's going on. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have my head start at 325 and this at 250. And then I'm gonna have these.
I want my apple.
275.
I want apple.
I want.
You want your mom? I want to see the flag.
Perfect. Okay, cool. I'm gonna draw.
I'm Big Cat, and I'm a ferocious lion, Kit Kat.
Okay, cool. All right.
He said that.
So everybody has their apple appearing on screen.
No, not really.
No, no, you don't.
Can't read property display of I want to
Well, you probably haven't defined what you're displaying. You just have s.display. What did you call your apple? So say apple.display, not s.display. You have nothing called s.
Where? Head display?
What is this s dot display? What is this doing? Get rid of it. That's what's messing you up. Okay, cool. So let's make another new function. And this one is going to happen every... This one is going to detect if we hit an apple, and if we do hit an apple, what it does. So I'm going to make a new function, drag out my function bar, and drag out my function tab. And this function is going to be called eat. Again, I'm going to grab this function if, and then a conditional. This. I'm going to drag this away, and I'm going to grab that math again. I like that math. Math is fun. I'm going to say if the distance from head dot get x and head dot get y and apple dot get x and apple dot get y is equal to 0, then we know I have eaten the apple. So what should happen if I eat the apple?
Add a score and disappear if you want to score, actually.
We do want to score. We're going to do score later. So don't drop that thought. First, we need to make our guy grow, right? So I'm going to say grow equals true. And then we want our apple to move. We don't want the apple to stay in one place all the time. So I'm going to say, I'm actually just going to copy this line, apple.move to point. I'm going to just slot it in here. So the apple is going to move to a new point. And I don't want the apple to appear anywhere that my body already is. I don't want the apple to appear on top of my body. So I'm going to do a new conditional. Actually, I'm going to do a new conditional for loop. I'm going to say for a sprite in body if I'm going to copy this whole brick of code. If the distance from b.getX and b.getY and apple.getX and apple.getY is equal to 0, I'm going to copy this and have it move again. So it's going to keep moving until it finds a new place to land. Yes? Let me slot this here. There. So right now, my eat function, it's going to check if I'm touching the apple. If I am touching the apple, I'm going to allow myself to grow, and then I'm going to move the apple. If the apple is already on a body segment, I'm going to move the apple again. Now, already I can tell there's going to be a bug eventually, and we can deal with that bug when we get to it. But if the screen is full of body segments, if the screen has no room left, the apple has nowhere to go, and we're going to cause a crash. And we can deal with that when we get there. But for the time being, this is fine.
Stop breathing.
Okay, so I'm going to call my function eat, and I'm going to throw my function eat before I do my grow equals false. Actually, no, I don't want to put it there. That's a bad place. I want to put it here before my grow. That's very important, because if we don't do it that way, we'll never grow when we eat, because immediately after eating, our grow will reset to false, and that's not what we want. See if I did it correctly. B get y. Let me see. B dot get y. There you go. B dot get y.
So I said.
Yay!
Mine isn't working.
Mine doesn't
I need help.
help.
I need help.
All right, let me. For everybody who says it's not working, replace your hit detection. This one here, the if head.getx, head.getY, apple.getx, apple.getY. Replace that with a detection touching sprite if
Apple.
head is touching apple. Let's see if this works. It may not work for me, but it might work for you guys. It's not going to work for me because my head nests inside of it instead of touching it.
Mine works with the detection.
But yours might work because yours isn't. You guys isn't aligned like mine is.
Are we gonna do the score now? I already have this.
All right, Mofon, good. Yours is working. Serena.
I still press space.
So Serena, yeah, get rid of. Actually, Serena. Leave that. You want to take the whole block out. And for these, you want to use the touching, and then first one is head and apple, and the second one is M and apple. All right, Brayden, good. Yours is working. Colin, is yours working?
Yeah. I'm setting the score thing.
I wish the snake did make it. Yeah, I know, but I'm not sure.
Mine doesn't work.
Serena, where's your apple? Are you displaying your apple, Serena? You are.
Oh.
All right, let's have a look, Serena. I'm going to zoom you out a little bit so I can see a bit more. At a time, setup, apple.move to position. I'm going to say 1. 1. You don't want 29, you want 26. 19 is fine.
Oh yeah.
Maybe even 2.
My chair's broken.
Ow.
I don't know.
What?
You said it.
Oh.
Serena, your thing, your snake travels much faster than my snake.
It's a fast snake. Speedy gun.
Okay, cool. All right, you're working, Serena.
I need help with the score now. So yeah, I could just wait.
Okay, who needs help?
No, I just need help with the score.
Okay, yeah, we haven't moved on to score yet.
Stop spending.
Brayden, did you break a chair?
Yep.
Pretty shoddily made chairs.
Look at my snake.
Very good. Good job, Mofon. Okay, cool, guys. So, for the last step, what I want you guys to do on your own, or we'll give you guys maybe 5 minutes or less even, make a variable that is your score. Have your score go up by 1 every time you eat an apple. And then I want you to display your score somewhere on your screen.
But my snake is already this long.
I mean, Mofon, it's your own game. You can play it whenever you want. You've literally built it.
Yeah.
Wait, I did have one question before we go to score. Do we use text or string?
You're going to use neither for your score. A score is a number. So we're going to use an integer.
Integer and text.
Text for displaying the score, but integer to keep track of your score.
My snake's so big. Huh.
gonna show something black. Okay. Oh, girl. I did not even notice that.
Yeah. What? What?
Aww, what's wrong with you?
I don't.
Nice. That's good. How did you get the score?
What?
You didn't need the text, but I'll try.
You do need the text.
Oh, you don't need it?
But you do need the text.
Okay.
Look at my code. Look at my code. Ready?
Yeah, my name
works. Now just move it.
Yeah, my
Yeah,
thing
my
works
thing works
now.
now.
Yes.
My thing perfectly. Except that I don't know how to push.
I'm 5 blocks long.
Oh my god, I gotta get it!
Oh my god!
No.
Calm down, bro.
I can't. It's so hard.
Can somebody help me?
What's up, Mofan?
Oh!
Your snake is dead.
I mean,
Your snake is dead. Your snake is kaput.
the text doesn't show.
Oh, you're just displaying X. Is X what you called your score?
Why is this?
Who's messing with the mic?
My mic is turned off.
There you go, Mofan.
I like this game a lot.
Good to know, friend.
Okay, cool. All right, so I've got my score displayed. I've got my score that increases every time I eat an apple. And then in my main screen, I have a text that says you've eaten plus score plus apples to say I've eaten X number of apples. And then in my kill screen, I've added a you ate score apples to say how many apples I ate for like a high score, keeping track of things.
Can you add a super apple for homework?
So what you're going to be adding for homework is I want you guys to find a way to make the game speed get faster based on the number of apples you've eaten. So right now, my snake moves pretty slowly. He moves twice a second.
Pretty quick.
So what you want to do in that case is make your snake start off moving slow, and then as you eat more apples, I want your game speed to get faster and faster. So it starts off slow, and then after a couple apples, it's a little bit faster. And then after you've eaten like, 20 apples or something, I want your game speed to be going as fast as it can.
As fast as it can? You mean like one?
Yeah, so 60 times a second, exactly. So that'd be really, really fast. So I want you guys to make game speed scale based on number of apples. That's your homework.
I have 19. Speedster snake.
Oh no! Oh damn!
And once you've done that, you will have completely replicated the entirety of Snake. The game will be complete. This is a game that was released on systems long before you guys were born. But this will be a real game. My mustache is lopsided. Very cute, Serena. All right, so it's now 5:59. It's time to log off. You guys have your homework. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Make sure you save. Export your games. All right, have a good night, everybody.
My apple disappeared.
Okay.
I need help.
Apple disappeared?
Yes.
You'll need to change your parameters of where it positions itself. It's somehow outside the screen.
Oh, okay.
That's also your homework, Serena. Make it so your apple no longer disappears. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Alan.
Alan.
Bye.
What's pro deathmatch?